today's been quite relaxing. I had plenty of time to, just sit around and relax. So with that, I think I'll say good night and see you in the morning. Hello, good morning. It's now about 7:30 in the morning on Wednesday. So day 2 on the road really. I went to bed about 10:30 last night. It was still quite light and it took me a while to get off to sleep actually. Just I was thinking over the day and just, reflecting on it, and eventually got off, well I don't know, after quite a while. And I woke up at 5 a.m. this morning. I set my alarm. I just turned it off, went back to sleep, and then I got woken up about an hour ago, and it was actually really, really warm. The sun was flooding into my tent, so this actually is quite a good pitch because the sun was coming in that way. It's slightly cloudy now, and I got up really because it was getting too hot in the tent. During the course of this tour, I'll be using several resources, so I'll tell you what they are. First of all, I've got a hard copy paper list with all the villages on. Next is my phone. So this is Darren Hayman's Thankful Villages project. It's a project about rural life. Darren went to each of the thankful villages and made a piece of music and a short video about each. But if you stroll to the bottom of his website, there's this wonderful interactive map, and you can embed that onto your own Google Maps, which I have done. So if I go to Google Maps, there they all are. Can you see? And if you press 1, it will tell you what it is. That one, for instance, is Scruton. And if I press that, it'll take me to a link either to Darren's site or another site. So that's a fantastic resource. Just as I was talking to you, I had my back that way and I saw a red top walking along the riverbank. So I'm just going to wander over there and actually I'll show you the river. Here is the River Swale then, heading that way. That's upstream, just bending round to go underneath the bridge. Person in red I just saw was that lady walking the dogs. She just saw me with the camera. She said, "You've come down to see the dragonfly?" I went, "No." She said, "Oh, they were lovely down here last night. Thousands of them. And I've just seen one there actually. There's one right in front of me. There's a swan over there by the look of it, underneath those trees. Oh, what a beautiful spot." I was aware I was on a footpath last night, and my big concern when a wild camp is I don't want to be where a 4-wheel drive could come. There's always that fear that it could drive over you in the night. So I sort of did quite a comprehensive sweep and just looking for any 4-wheel tracks and also where they would possibly go. The only way they could go is round this field in a circle, and I'm well back from that. And also that gate I came through would allow pedestrians, and I got my bike through it, but it wouldn't allow a vehicle through it. So I think, I was happy I was safe here. Anyway, going to drop that now, get it in its stuff sack, and then get the panniers on the bike and get everything loaded. It's actually quite nice having an upright bike actually. Okay, I've packed all my bike up. That's where I was. My latrine was just behind there, ready made for me. So I walked the bike up to that lay-by, and it's literally just over the other side of this hedge. There's some bins there, so I've got all my rubbish ready to get rid of. Not much of it actually. Here we are then, just dumped my rubbish back on this main road. I've just had a look at the Ride with GPS app, and I didn't realise I'm literally less than a mile from North Allerton. So I'm going to pop in there, try and pick up a tin or something for tonight. I'm not on this road very long. I've still got my high vis on, but I'm so hot already. I'm going to take that off as soon as I get on some minor roads. But just for this section, I'm going to keep the high vis on. So start the ride on day 2. See, a couple of lorry drivers use this just to get their loads organised. Maybe stop up and for a rest. Okay, just waiting for van to come from behind me. The big gap in the traffic. Here we are, crossing the River Swale on that bridge. And North Allerton is very, very close. After a couple of miles on this main road, We're just coming into North Allerton, the heart of North Yorkshire. I see it's twinned with somewhere on the Marne in France. It's funny, isn't it? Geographical river, just almost associate that and the Marne with World War One. I do anyway. This is the market town of North Allerton. On market day, the smell of the food is amazing. Ironically, I'm looking for somewhere where I can pick up some food. Oh, there's Greg's there. I can probably go and get a roll for lunch there and a fizzy drink. I'm just looking for somewhere where I can pick up a tin for tonight. I love these market towns in Yorkshire. I stopped at Welbury yesterday, that was fantastic. And also love the Yorkshire villages. They all seem so well kept, lovingly kept. Seeing so many people out tending to flowers and pulling weeds, and that guy yesterday disinfecting the seats. Every village seems to have a really nice green with a pub, which looks well, used, and yeah, just fantastic. It really is nice. I left North Allerton to a really nice residential area. I very briefly joined this main road again, most of it like a pavement, but along there it would have been another 7.5 miles. It was a nice cosy looking campsite. If I'd known that's there, I probably would have pressed on last night. Having said that, I was very happy where I was. So I've picked up a tin of chili con carne. I've got all my lunch for today, so I really can focus on distance. But I'm just turning off this main road, and there's the first sign for Welbury, 4 miles. That'll be my 4th thankful village, and that's where the file for this first part of the tour finishes. This little lane's lovely. There's a miles countdown, 3.4 miles to the end of my track, and I will have finished it in a church, I'm pretty sure. I've said it before, just take a little bit of extra effort to design my routes at home on the laptop. So I'll always try and finish them, say in a Travelodge car park or a youth hostel car park, or in this case a church, just so when you get to the end of it you just know where you are. I mean, I've said it before, the last thing you want at the end of a long day is to get to your destination and suddenly realise you no idea where your hotel is or youth hostel. So I learnt that as a postman. Just do a little bit of extra prep when it's easy to do, because when you're prepping it you sort of think, oh, this is hardly worth it, it'll be blindingly obvious. But sometimes when you're tired at the end of a long day, or it may be pouring down the rain and you just want to get there desperately, and the last thing you want is just the hassle, the extra added mental stress of trying to find your accommodation. Well, 0.9 miles to go to the end of this section of the route and the thankful village. But look at that scenery. This is a wide angle camera, so it may not look that spectacular on film, but that really is a pretty stunning bit of landscape up there. Right, I'm going to really savour this the next 9/10 of a mile as we home in on our destination for a snack and hopefully finding the thankful village slate plaque at Welbury. With 0.1 miles to go, Welbury. Once again, no reference to it being a thankful village on the boundary sign. That is really nice. I saw a village hall there and I thought, well, I'll just check that rather than overshoot it and have to come back. There was a couple there maintaining it and just said, do you need any help? And I said, right, so I'm looking for the thankful village slate plaque. And she said, oh, we haven't got one, but if you go to the church in the porch, there's some information about it. And I said, actually, I was heading for the church. I just thought I'd check here first. She said, no, we haven't got one. So not all of them do. Oh, here's the church, look. And she did say it's open. So time for a snack. St. Leonard's Church. Oh, how nice. Church open. Just once again, they had all their disinfectants, cleaning, just so much volunteering up here. It just seems such an example of civic pride. Oh, this is nice. It's going to be a nice place for my picnic. And also look around the church as well. Oh, St Leonard's Church at Welbury, lovely, bird song everywhere. The church is open, haven't been in yet. Gosh, that amazing yew tree. It's like one that's split in two. She said there's something in the church porch. So I'm just going to quickly start getting things charged. I think that's my priority here. Leave my bike just there for the moment. There's my poppy when I decide to leave it. I'm going to go straight in the church. Priority is to plug that in, charge my power pack and my phone while I'm here, then have a picnic. Let's go inside. Oh, this is nice. Oh, look, some poppies straight over there. That's probably where I'll be leaving mine. I'll put some light on. Yes. Oh, this is really nice. First things first. Yeah, there's a plug socket there, look. I can get things charged in there. Perfect. Okay, it's upside down. It's 12:02. I'm charging my phone and there's my power pack. You can probably see it's down to one light. Just give it about an hour here while I have my break, my lunch, and then hopefully that's topped up a little bit. You can see this back west end is right above the bell towers, bell ropes. Lovely solid Yorkshire stone, very dark panelling. Dark wooden pulpit, stone base. And then up into the chancel, there's a little chapel in there by the look of it. Oh, that's nice. Imagine that's St Leonard, possibly. Look at that lovely wooden roof structure. Practical is bracing the building, but it's also very, very artistic and decorative. Altar in the rear loss. 1952 to 2022, 70 years. Flooding right in. I've locked in there. Right, I'm going to find myself a seat outside and have a picnic and just leave my devices charging for an hour or so. So I'm glad I bumped into that couple, because otherwise I'd be wondering where the slate plaque is. So look, there's some knitted poppies up there and a roll of honour. See what it says. Names of the men who have gone from the parish of Welbury to serve their country in the Army and Navy. Woolen poppies, look, 3 and 2. I might be adding mine there, I don't know yet. She did say there was a reference to thankful villages in the porch, so I'll go and have a look at that. Gosh, look at all that up there, possibly Latin. See, there's definitely the different roof structure between the nave and the chancel. Wow, amazing arch. Okay, just going to check out the porch first. I'll turn the lights off, I won't leave them on any longer than I need to. Let's go and see the part about thankful villages. I don't know if it's blindingly obvious, but I cannot see any reference to the thankful villages here. Oh, I can't see. I think what I'll do is I'll take my poppy and add it to those ones in there. That wonderful sanctuary room. I've put my knitted poppy on the roll of honour plaque. So there's 3 at the top. They seem to be stuck or stapled onto the wood. There's 2 there. So I've just wrapped mine around there. Once again, they can remove it if they don't want it there. So a 3 and a 3. Holy Trinity, Holy Trinity. Today's the 19th of June, the 19th of the 6th. The last person to sign the visitors book, the last people were Andy and Susan from Denver, USA. So you can see that's over 2 months since the last entry. The comments section have been almost huge, so I've condensed my Andy C. Bath Sunset. I've just put Thankful Villages Poppy Cycle Tour. If anybody's interested in that, all they've got to do is Google it, it'll come up on YouTube. And I've left my poppies there, 3 and a 3. Mostly plain glass here. A little bit of stain there. That's quite nice actually, very subtle. Oh, a little bit over there as well. Right. I'm going to pop outside and have a picnic because it is round about lunchtime. And then this afternoon, it really will be mile-eating a little bit to get the distance up for tonight. I was sort of thinking about this. I may get the app up later on and see where I'm likely to be, but I've got a feeling I might be in built-up area, urban area, so I might have to do a little bit of stone camping. We'll wait and see anyway, that's later on. Lunch. So I've got my bike right outside the porch. I'm actually going to sit and have my picnic here. I'll explain why shortly. I just noticed there's a sundial above the porch. Time is the monitor of life. And it says ADMM, that must have been put there at the turn of the millennium. There's 2 bells up there, open bell tower. You can see it says restored 1996, lightning conductor up there. But I'll show you what I've just discovered around the churchyard. I was wondering why there's no seats in the churchyard. There normally is. And there's almost like a memorial garden down here. So if you want to sit and reflect, this would be the place to go. If I didn't have my devices in the church, that's probably where I would head for. You see, it's actually all part of the churchyard. That's lovely, isn't it? Lovely place to sit. When I went to Woolly, the Thankful Village just outside Bath, I went in the church and there's no slate plaque in there, and I looked around everywhere, I couldn't find it. And as I was leaving the village, I asked some locals, and they sort of said it's in the Remembrance Garden right next to the church. And I backtracked, and it's very similar to that, and it's all overgrown. If I hadn't been told about that, I would not have found it. So it does pay sometimes to check things like that, but the couple told me there isn't one here, so I'm not going to waste time looking for one. I've left my poppy where I think it's appropriate. That wonderful beast of a tree. And you can see the bells up there. Open. Big wooden beam holding them up. I actually just put my bike in the porch because it's starting to cook in the sun. As usual, take my shoes and socks off just to air my feet out. It makes such a difference, it really does. When I sit here, it's almost like having a foot massage. I've got a mango and pineapple fizzy drink, one of my favourite lunches ever, Greg's honey roast ham and salad. And I also got a couple of chocolate pans, just really in case I get a sugar munchies later this afternoon, so I might be having those as a mid-afternoon snack. So I've had my sandwich, and I'm actually on the first of my chocolate pans. I've been sat here looking at that sundial, and I think it's going backwards. Because when I first got here, you can see the X and the 2, so that's 12, isn't it? When I got here, it was round about midday. I saw that when I plugged my phone in. And I thought, oh right, it's a little bit out. It should be going that way, but it's going back towards 11 o'clock. That's right, isn't it? X1, X, 1X. Yeah, it's actually going clockwise, but the Roman numerals are in the wrong direction, aren't they? The shadows should be going that way. And I was looking at it, reminded me of a lovely story from recently actually. I referred to it in one of my previous videos. I went to a picnic at Holcombe Old St Andrew's Church a couple of months back, and it was to mark the opening of the summer season when you can actually go in. It's unlocked and visitors welcome on Saturdays and Sundays. And I actually took my wine glass out and a little bottle of Prosecco and me Greg's roll. They were quite impressed with that. I was having wine with my lunch. ever so friendly, and they sort of said they were showing me around some of the sort of things that I'd spotted but I hadn't really understood. And one of them, they said, have you seen our upside down carving in the porch? And there's this lovely intricate stonemasonry that I had sort of noticed, but I just thought, oh, that's probably Latin or something. And it wasn't. It was English, but it was upside down. And they said, because there was a local historian there as well, and they said they believe, local legend has it, that he was articulate, and they just gave him the written parchment what to do, and he did it, you know, perfectly. But he did it upside down. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. Even they said they weren't sure, but I like to believe that, and they said they like to believe it as well. So that reminds me of that clock going backwards. As I said, I'm just about to start the second file, so it's roughly in a reverse lowercase n, for want of a better description. So I'm going up and curling over to the Cumbria coast and then heading down towards Morecambe. So it's going to be an afternoon of distance. I've only done 12.2 so far, so I really need to sort of crank that up to, well, at least 50 tonight to sort of stay on track really. So that's the plan. Just passed through the really lovely town of Yarm, and this must be the River Tees we're crossing. Look at that bridge up there. It says engineers at the top. It lists them. Construction 1849, I think that says. Suddenly realised the Stockton and Darlington Railway is one of the world's first railways, wasn't it? So we're sort of in historical railway heritage territory. Probably just going to walk up this section of the hill, because you can see it's quite busy actually. The traffic's being held up in the town. Hopefully it'll thin out a little bit. We're actually in the borough of Stockton-on-Tees. I'm just cycling around the outskirts of Stockton-on-Tees, and I'm loving this. Maybe not if it was a wet or windy day, but it's a hot sunny afternoon. I'm accumulating some miles, which I need to do, and even my closest friends don't know I've got some strong links from up here from much earlier in my life. And because I overshot, I actually ended up in the Hardwick Social Club car park, and I was in there when I was 18, believe it or not. It's a long story which I won't elaborate on, but yeah, talk about bringing some memories back. So it's all land that's been developed over there, lots of new housing estates, and there was lots of lovely, smooth, silky cycle paths along them as well. As I said, I was accumulating mileage, and I was just really enjoying it. And now this looks like I could possibly be on an old railway. You know, I roughly know I'm heading up towards Sunderland, then on to Jarrow, but I don't know the details, and that's what I love about touring really. Take things as they come. Gosh, what a flashback that was. If I had not have overshot this small chicane, it's easy to miss. I wasn't paying attention. I'd have never seen that. Oh my goodness. That would be the Hardwick estate over there. I remember being up there in the late 70s, 78. I remember coming out for a walk around here with my girlfriend at the time. She was distantly related to the person who invented matches or invented the manufacturing process. Wow, 1978 to 24. Quite blown away by this. I can't even do the maths. What's that? 22 and 24. 46 years ago. Blimey. Wow. Gosh, I was just a bit speechless, to be honest. I knew I'd be coming close because of the planning, but I didn't realise it'd activate so many memories, which it has. Places and people. Her brother, I won't mention any names, was a prison officer, and I knew he was a keen runner. I didn't realise how good he was. He said to me once, can I stay with you for some cheap accommodation? I want to run the Bath Half Marathon. And anyway, I said, yeah, of course you can. So I put him up overnight, thinking he was a fun runner. He won it. Well, it's got very narrow, and I'm pretty sure this is a railway, and I'm pretty sure there would have been a bridge across here. You can probably see common sense has got the better of me. I'm going to push it down here. This is seriously narrow and seriously steep. Good old ride with GPS. Having said that, quite reassuring, a cyclist passed me coming the other way, so he must have just come up here. So it does look a bit precipitous. There's old bits of brick in the ground. Pretty sure there would have been a viaduct across here. Look, we've just crossed the railway. This is a little bit hard work. I'm going to turn the camera off, actually. I need to concentrate down here. I've just scrambled down there. Still convinced this was a railway. You can see brick everywhere where a wrecking ball's gone into this. And there's a big plinth, look, for one of the supports. Another one over there, another one there. So we're back on flat ground. I just hope we don't have to go up the other side. Even within a big urbanised and industrial area, get places of beauty like this, little stream running through. Looks like the road bridge over there. Yeah, that is a road bridge, so I guess we're just going to merge with that. So I could have stayed on that road properly. I'm so glad I did that, actually. So I merged just below that blue sign there, which says Stockton Centre 4.5, running alongside that busy road. But you can see it's clearly a footpath, bridleway. Bit of a tricky chicane there to get the bike through. To stop mopeds, I find these days on the Bath to Bristol bike track, e-bikes are more dangerous. Actually, some of them, they've clearly got illegal ones with throttles on. That's fine if they want to ride them, that's great, up to them. But you don't have to notice they ride them quite fast on the Bath to Bristol bike track. Okay, see how far I can ride this. Not very far. Just too narrow and too slippery. Okay, looks like we're coming up to another one of those tricky chicanes. Crossing the main road by the foot, yeah. Off to our right, down there. It says Wynnard Woodland Park and Planetarium, Wolviston. Oh, and there's a Sustrans sign there. Okay. The Sustrans sign is saying Tees Barrage. I mean, well, I don't know if we're going to, I didn't even know there was a Tees Barrage. If we go across that, that'd be fantastic. Even just to see it from a distance. Well, I didn't stay on that tarmac road very long. I was sent up a gravel path, then went through this country park with the planetarium. Then you climb up onto, well, you can see it's the old railway. I thought I was on one, so obviously I had to drop down. I've had to gain the elevation up. This was called Thorpe Fuels Station. It looks like I'm up here for a while. How nice is this? Enjoying this. I'll get to about 5 or 6 o'clock and reassess the situation, because at the moment I'm not making such good progress as I was earlier on. Great thing is I've got a plan, nothing too rigid. I've got an average which I want to reach every day, but there was always times when I probably wouldn't make it, which is the point of building up a surplus. But the thing is, from last night, I wasn't ready to go to bed till 10:30. I was still eating outside at 9 o'clock, so I can ride into the evening if need be. It's lovely along here, gives me a chance to get my bearings. Stockton 7.5 that way. Okay, Sunderland. Well, I don't know how long I'm on this for, but obviously I'm not making that fast progress. Let's just see what the distance is. 30. So let's just see what time it is. That should come up with the time shortly. Is that 3:28? Oh, half three. Yeah. As long as I get to 50 today, I'm okay. I think my feeling at this moment is as long as I get up to 50 miles, the distance, I don't really care where I stay. I was sort of thinking if I press on to the Tyne Tunnel, I'm going to be going through there sort of mid-evening possibly. Do I really want to be in a built-up inner city area, you know, when I'm starting to look for somewhere to stay? I just had that flashback on Only Fools and Horses, you know, where the German ladies looking for somewhere to stay in the East End of London, you know, at chucking out time in the pubs, and nobody can understand what she's saying, and suddenly they realise Uncle Albert can speak German. Just come across this wonderful reinstated bridge across this dual carriageway. I'm kind of heading parallel to the Garmin track. Now either the track's wrong or that bridge is so new that the original course was on that. No, I'm back on course. Yeah, I think possibly what happened is before that bridge was put in, this would have been the route, so that's good. I'm back on route. Well, I'm enjoying this. Do not follow SatNav. Well, I actually am actually. Okay, I've just turned off to the left and back on the railway trail. And this tells you a bit about it. It's the Herworth Burn Railway Path. There's the Millennium Cycleway Bridge. So that is quite new. It's National Cycle Network 1. Oh gosh, it's one of the big ones. So I'm heading up there to a reservoir car park. And I just don't fancy getting the phone out to check. I'll just follow the Garmin and see where it takes me. I'm just enjoying this so much. As I said, my priority now is to get up to 50 miles and then I'll reassess the situation. Well, I'm on this lovely Greenway with all this bird song to my right hand side. Now I know on the left there's loads of heavy industry and I can hear lots of traffic noise just over past the wind turbines, past the trees. That's probably industry related. And at the moment I appear to be avoiding it all, so this is really nice. Going past this nature reserve, some bird hides in there. Picnic tables, look how nice is this. This is kind of thing I was looking for last night, you know. This would have been an ideal picnic site. Whenever you get on old railways, there's always somewhere to wild camp. Wow, look all the birds over there. I think that's all birds. Yeah, over there. Just hear the roar of traffic just over that hillside. More wind turbines over there. Oh, nice bit of tarmac surface after that crunchy gravel for a while. This is absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much, Mr. Beeching, PhD. Author of that lesser known work, The Reshaping of Britain's Cycleways. This is wonderful. Just cut through some back streets. You can see all the traffic over there. So I've been avoiding that main road. Just look at this. This is lovely. Okay, situation update. Things went terribly wrong on that bike track. I got a Garmin alarm and it suggested I was going off course. And because I don't really know where I'm going, I thought I'd better stick to the course. Even though the route was clearly signposted to Sunderland and I'm not going there, I should have just stayed with it. I went back. It tried to take me down on the A19 and I thought, oh no, it's down through this industrial estate, and I actually went through a no-through road and it got me onto the A19, and in the end I've just got off the A19, had to work out a route on the fly. I've come over the coast and I'm going to ride up the coast, and I've just asked someone if that's doable and they said yeah, that's the old A19, so I've lost 2 hours. I should have just stayed on the bike track, but hey, that's what cycle touring's all about. You live and learn, don't you? So my priority, I think, is just to get to 60 miles because I reckon I've added on about 7 or 8 miles. At least I'm heading in the right direction now. I wanted to get to 50. I'm on 46. ideally I want to get to 60 really, so I'm just kind of carry on until I find somewhere to camp. I've got some beach pegs, so I can always do a beach camp. It's 10 to 7, I believe, almost. I carried on that road past Seaham, then all of a sudden my Garmin pinged and I was back on course, and I looked for an obvious convergence where I come in from, nothing obvious, so I don't know what it had done, just a Garmin discrepancy. As I said, I did consider just carrying on the cycleway to Sunderland, but you know, my concern was, well, what happens if it just brings me in completely the wrong side of town? I don't know Sunderland. So I think I've probably made the right decision. Anyway, I stopped at where I spoke to you last. I stopped at water. I was getting really quite low on it. And here I just passed this cemetery, and I thought there's always taps in cemeteries, so I just rode around it a little bit, and I filled up my water cell. I feel kind of I want to almost get to 60, but it's coming up 54.09. Literally just behind those houses is the sea, so what I may do is just go over there and see if there's anywhere to camp down on the beach. I've no idea if it'll be okay or not. I'll just quickly Google map and see what's coming up, you know, but we are still in the outskirts of Sunderland, sort of quite built out residential area. I could actually do with the Sustrans track now because there's all somewhere to camp on there. But anyway, I've got food and I've got water and I've got, what, 3 hours of daylight left. Okay, I've just got Google Maps up. That's where I am here. As you can see, I'm not actually in Sunderland yet. I actually saw the Sunderland boundary sign back there, so I thought I was actually in Sunderland. I'm not sure if I want to carry on that far. Okay, I've just zoomed in a little bit and I've seen there Hendon Beach, so I may carry on a few more miles and see if I can get onto that A road and go down onto that beach. We'll see. That's an option. It's 8:10 in the evening on day 2 of my Thankful Villages cycle tour. I'm camped on a cliff top just south of Sunderland. Looks lovely looking back down south. I did consider doing a beach camp because I have got beach pegs, but I don't know how far the tide comes in, and I just wouldn't feel happy about not knowing and then getting cut off down there. There's my tent. I was hoping to get to Jarrow tonight, but that's not going to happen, obviously. I stocked up with water and I just looked at Google Maps and saw there was this beach down here. I think that's it there, actually. And I just thought I'd head for that. I came along here, had a heck of a job finding somewhere flat enough to get the tent up, but after about a mile I found it. So all's okay. I've got a tin of chili con carne tonight. No, yeah, chili con carne. And there's my pasta from Bath. There's my MREs. They're just like army surplus meals. You just boil them in a bag, 8 minutes, let them stand, give them a really good stir, tear the perforation. Normally eat them out the bag with a long spoon, but I've only bought these along as sort of emergencies, and last night was a perfect example. I'd have been quite hungry if I hadn't had those. So I don't like those if I can help it, but you know, they're a backup. And I've not long finished putting my tent up. You can see there's people walking along here. A couple of people seen me already. Nobody said anything. I don't really care, to be honest, when you get to my age. I've just made up a bottle of orange squash. Gosh, that is such a godsend on a trip like this. I really don't feel like alcohol tonight. I really want a lot of soft drinks and water. Anyway, this is my camping spot for tonight. Big railway line just behind me. Lots of residences over there, but very tall grass. I've put on darker clothes, so I'm not standing out that much. Anyway, another 10 minutes and I think I'll put my food on. Boiled the pasta, drained it, stirred in the chili con carne, just heating it up. Then it'll be going on that plate. It's 10 to 10 now. I've had my meal, all washed up, put it away. I'm sort of thinking about going to bed. I'm not a late night person normally. There's a lovely gibbous moon over there. All the lights in the distance. It's amazing rocks actually out there. You can see how the cliff has eroded. I just hope this bit doesn't erode tonight. I mean, it's been here millennia, isn't it? So let's just hope it's not tonight. See some lorries not going along there. Seen trains coming along, going over that bridge. Nice little sunset. Almost midsummer, isn't it? Today's the 19th, so it's possibly tomorrow or possibly Friday. I have to check that tomorrow. Yeah, I'm just about ready to hit the hay. I've just had a lovely long phone call with my wife, and then I put the GPS route up. So I'll tell you what I've decided. I was looking at the whole route on the Ride with GPS app, and I've worked out where I am on that, and it would be, if I hadn't gone off course, it's at the 102 mile mark. So I've done more than that. I reckon I've done at least another 10, 12 miles on top of that. So I'm 102 miles, which in 2 days is not too bad. You know, that's 50 miles a day, just slightly over. So I sort of feel happy about that. My plan is to have an early night, get up as early as possible, maybe just have coffee, no breakfast, hit the road, and just try and head up through Sunderland, get under the Tyne Tunnel, Jarrow, then you head up the coast towards Whitley Bay, then we'll start turning inland, and the Thankful Village isn't till 140 miles into the ride. So what's that, 38 miles? So, you know, that's going to be afternoon, isn't it? And then I'll be heading towards the Pennines, but not getting to them until about 160. So again, if today's 102, tomorrow I'd quite like to finish just before the Pennines. So round about the 155, 160 mark possibly. And then Friday, wallop, it'll be straight up over the Pennines. And if you've seen the route profile, it's not just one big up along and then down like the Cotswolds can be in places. It's going to be up and down, up and down. That's going to be quite a hard day. Whether I'll get that all done in one day, remains to be seen. But there are 2 Thankful Villages on that section. And then once I get over to the M5 corridor, just south of Carlisle, the last 2 Thankful Villages on this trip are actually quite close to each other, near Lancaster. And that's when this route, the second chunk of this route will finish then. But Friday's going to be the really hard day, I think. So get as close as possible to the Pennines tomorrow night, and then basically hit the first thing Friday. So hence I want an early start. Just give you a final sweep. Looking downstairs, really big wind farm up there. See all the resorts. That's Seaham, I think. I rode by that. I actually considered going down to that beach. I just had it in my head, no, I want more mileage. And I'm glad I did, because as I said, I'm on the 102. That's houses just beyond the coast. Oh, of course, that would be westwards. I was trying to think, why is the sunset over there? And then north would be up there. I will say good night. See you in the morning.